Business Principles of the Smart Chiropractor Show. This segment is brought to you by the Payday Practice. And Jason, the topics that we talk about within Business Principles quite often tie into the Payday Practice, and it is going to today as well. Our topic is why calculating your MVMI is critical to monthly recurring revenue success. That's a mouthful. There's a couple topics there. Let's explore together.
Well, let's start off by defining our terms. MVMI stands for your minimum viable monthly income. You may know that as your overhead. If I ask you the question, how much money must you make in order to cover all the bills you must pay next month? There's a number. You can calculate that number. That is your minimum viable monthly income, the least amount of money. Not how much do you want to make, not what's your goal, not what's your dream, but what's the absolute least amount of money you absolutely must make in order to not feel financially stressed out. This is our, chiropractors tend to be counterculture. We tend to be contrarians in the way we think, right? We don't think the way most people think. Unfortunately, more people hopefully over time will think like us. But the contrarian viewpoint of success is really trying to solve for the least instead of trying to go for the grand slam. And when you solve for, the question is why? Why is that better? Why is that different? How is this critical? Well, let's connect a few dots here. What Jeff and I have seen over the decades we've both been doing this meaning helping chiropractors grow their practices by communicating more effectively with their community, more accurately, more authentically, more consistently, has really been our life's work. And what we have found as a response from most of the profession is probably similar to something you're used to. You teach people in your community about healthy living, healthy lifestyles, positive mental attitudes, the importance of taking care of their spine and nervous system, of exercise, movement, yoga, getting proper rest, all of these activities that if you do over time are absolutely guaranteed to be beneficial to you at some point in time. And yet, the number one response we get when we teach these long-term strategies is probably the same number one response you get when you teach your long-term strategies. When you teach all these different things and people say to you, yeah, but is that going to get me out of pain? Because that's why I'm here. That's what's bugging me. That's very much the same conversation when we teach these long-term strategies and chiropractors go, but how's that going to get me new patients tomorrow? Because I need new patients tomorrow. You need to relieve the pain. And what we're suggesting, just like you're suggesting, is that if you can solve for your financial stress, as in if people could relieve their pain on a sustainable basis, not just an artificial take the drug, suppress the symptom basis, but to truly correct the cause of the problem. If you could correct the cause of your financial stress, your life would be different. And so there's a very simple formula that we've come up with that is what the Payday Practice is all about. It's the understanding that you have guaranteed payments you need to make next month. It's called your rent, your mortgage, your payroll, insurance, all the other monthly expenses that are guaranteed to have to be paid next month. The question we're asking is, why not start generating guaranteed monthly revenue to meet your guaranteed monthly expenses so that you can start the first day of every month from, oh man, back to zero, here come all the bills, and turn it into payday. You can turn the first of the month into the day that you cover all of your monthly expenses on that first of the month through the magic of monthly recurring revenue. And that's really in a nutshell what we're talking about is figure out how much you must earn every month to pay your bills and cover those monthly expenses with monthly recurring revenue. And if you can make those things match and meet, and that's the goal. Rarely does anybody do this day one, week one, month one. It is the goal. But then you can chunk it down. And if you're part of the Payday Practice Accelerator program, or if you're part of what we're teaching in our trainings, what you'll learn is that through scarcity and urgency, by having open enrollment periods, by having limited periods of time where you're selling a certain amount of memberships or subscriptions during that period of time in order to encourage and invite people to sign up at a special price for a specific time until they cannot any longer, like an open enrollment, you will find that there are specific tactics that you can be using to build your monthly recurring revenue faster than you would otherwise. What's the goal? Is it to get you distracted? Is it to give you more work? Is it to give you just another thing to do when you already got plenty to do? No, none of those things. Our goal is to give you peace of mind. Our belief is that if you could practice without needing the money, if you could do what I was trained to do early on, what inspired me to become a chiropractor, I came through the ranks of understanding that the whole goal of being a chiropractor was to give, love, and serve out of a state of abundance, to be able to do for others what they can't do for themselves, to be able to help people help themselves by giving them the most important thing they could possibly have, and that is their health back. And because they don't understand the philosophy of what we do, and they certainly can't go anywhere else to get their nerve system corrected, their subluxations adjusted, then when people understand your story and they understand your passion for wanting to be of service to them, and most importantly, when you can start sharing your truth, regardless of your immediate ROI that you can measure, you will find you will attract different types of people. In a nutshell, what I'm saying is that if you need more new patients today, your message will be very different to get immediate gratification than if your message is to share your truth and inspire people to live their healthiest life and healthiest lifestyle. Those are two different messages. They'll give you two different outcomes. If you're always stuck in crisis mode, I need more money, nobody's overhead tends to be going lower over time. So this is something that the sooner you start, the more momentum you build. And the magic of what we're talking about here is in the recurring part. We didn't say monthly revenue. We said monthly recurring revenue. That membership or subscription you sell one time and goes on for months, maybe even years, depending on how well you articulate it, explain it, and the value you provide. That is the easiest way for you to practice a sense of truth, of authenticity, and true significance, and probably what you got into practice for. Most chiropractors did not get into practice to be stressed out every month, and yet most of them are. Here's the solution. This is the adjustment you make in your thinking, few tactics you'll make if you follow the Payday Practice Accelerator program. Jeff, that is why knowing your MVMI, knowing what your overhead is, knowing the least amount of money you have to make to not feel financially stressed out each and every month is the pathway to freedom. Freedom to say what you want, freedom to work with who you want, freedom to work as much or as little as you want. And if you want to learn more, there are 3 specific ways to generate monthly recurring revenue. You'll have to watch another segment to know those 3 different ways. But for today, calculate your monthly overhead and let's start getting curious about what you can do in order to be able to generate monthly recurring revenue on the first of the month that covers your entire month's expenses so you can be free at last, free at last, free at last.
Jason, great show today. Great business principle segment. I'm bringing us both up on the screen right now so we can close it out on today's Smart Chiropractor show. A couple of key points that I think I want to emphasize for docs out there. I know I want to emphasize for docs out there that just listen to your business principle segment is understanding minimum viable monthly income. Critically important. Understanding how much of a benefit recurring revenue can be in a practice. It doesn't need to be 100%. Just shoot for 10, 20% of your revenue to be recurring, and it dramatically changes your ability to show up, be present, have a lot more fun. It opens up opportunities, gives you operating capital, and serves your patients at a higher level. You get to choose how you want to implement it. Fantastic show. We had Dr. Michael Longyear with the clinical conversation all around mental health. I loved it. We started with mindset as always. And you talked about, what's your mindset about your mindset. Get docs thinking about this. We're going to continue to reiterate those messages as time goes on. Dr. James Chapman doing a fantastic job with Dynamic Chiropractic and Rehab. Dr. Melissa Longo, our featured guest, dropping knowledge about business strategies and tactics. We showed docs how they can get started and fine-tune their chiropractic blog to drive more traffic to their website. And we just finished it up with some recurring revenue talk. That's pretty good for a day's work, I gotta say. And I even left out something there, and that was about car accidents, our monthly campaign for our docs, and whiplash, regardless of whether you are a PI-focused practice or not. People in your practice are either going to get into car accidents next week, they were in one last week, last month, last year. Being in and around the conversation of whiplash, how it affects the body in the short term and the long term, it's an important conversation to be in, I'm going to say practically regardless of how you practice. And great show. What were some highlights for you?
Yeah, well, I hope chiropractors are listening. You know, we do this show out of our love for wanting to be of service to you, and we teach and we invite. So hopefully you've learned something in what we've taught. Our invitation, engage with us. Leave your comments down below. Let us know, what did you like? Let us know, is there a topic you'd like us to cover? Let us know if you've got some questions. Go ahead and tag some other chiropractors. If you know this is the right thing and the right message, if you see what we see, which is chiropractors being able to share the truth about what they do, not just market what they do to get them in, two different conversations leads to two different perceptions of what our profession is collectively. That means the more of us that are sharing this philosophy, the more of us that can practice financially stress-free, the more of us that can tell the truth about what we do, regardless of if somebody says, well, that's not going to fix my neck pain tomorrow, I guess I'm not coming in, but others do. The more of us that do that, I think the more of us are going to sort of really create the outcomes we're looking for. More respect for our profession, greater utilization for our profession, a clearer understanding of who we are and what we do, and the diversity we have. Stop saying we're all chiropractors doing the same thing, because we are all chiropractors doing very different things. And it's time for us to get more articulate and more clear. The only way to do it is to learn new skills, learn, understand, how do I communicate more effectively, and where do I communicate to reach more people, and how do I automate it all so it's actually easier than what I'm doing now? That's the name of the game. Get engaged. If you want to learn more, all kinds of places. We've talked about the smartchiropractor.com. You can join our private Facebook group on Facebook. Join the conversation. Sooner or later, you're going to join the Smart Chiropractor. We're patient. It's all good. But get involved. Ask questions. Learn from others. Refer others. Share with others. Just get in the game with us, have some fun with us, and together I think we're going to see some pretty miraculous, amazing outcomes working collectively as a team. Maybe for the first time. There's not a lot of chiropractors that know how to work together collectively as a team. We're crazy enough to think that we can. That's one of our sayings, right? You want to change the world? Only those who are crazy enough to think they can do. And we're just that kind of crazy. And if you're that kind of crazy too, come join us.
Absolutely. Docs, thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Please tune in next week. We'll be back next Tuesday for another Smart Chiropractor show. And if you have not clicked that little dingy button for notifications, when you see we're going live, be sure to do so. You won't miss a thing. You can also check us out on YouTube. Subscribe over there, and you will not miss a segment or a show. Thank you for being a chiropractor. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned in. For Dr. Jason and our entire team, I'm Dr. Jeff. We will see you very soon. Have an awesome night. Bye-bye. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Chiropractor. We are posting videos on how you can market your chiropractic practice in a way that teach and invites consistently. We have found that is the magic formula to big time growth. So if you like this video, be sure to comment down below, smash that subscribe button, or visit us at thesmartchiropractor.com.